Hello everyone, and welcome to this video where we'll try to give you a quick overview over all the new divisions coming in the Black Sunday DLC for both the Soviets and the Axis. And we will start with the Soviets, with the 7th Mechanized Corps. So, in the recon, they are pretty standard, getting the Universal Carrier, but other than that, pretty standard Razvedka T-34, nothing special here. In the Infantry section, they are what you would expect from a tank division. Strelky SVTs down here. This is a good one. Strelky DP, and then normal Strelkys are very PPSHs, Automachiki, and the normal leaders. And then we move to Tank Tap, where we have a couple of interesting units. We have the new Matilda 2, or at least new for multiplayer. I think the Matilda 1 though is in the campaigns, so might be completely new. And it's for sure new for multiplayer. And this one is for sure both new in multiplayer and single player. Su-76E. Stock a version of the Su-76 based on a Stock. And then we have T-34s and one KV-1 commander card. So relatively light armor, but interesting one. In the support tab, it's a good support tab. A lot of different MGs. Su-152s, Su-122s, Automachikis, and 52Ps, so a lot to choose from. Card availability is okay as well. A lot of 2-point slots as well, so first 6 slots relatively cheap, so you should use that. Anti-tank tab is where the big boys are. Su-122s. No CIS-2s though, so anti-tank tab is... The anti-tank guns themselves are meh, but the ISUs obviously help out. Anti-Airtap, pretty standard Soviet one. Instead of big guns, they have one card of ZSUs, which obviously are really good. So, solid AA tab, as you have enough cards of 37mm, you don't have to take the gas. Artillery, you have the KV-1E Observer with 203mm of off-map. You have some mortars. The rest is the KV-1E, also one of the finally an off-map tank that can use its gun, which is why it is so expensive though, which might be a bit overpriced for it only being only being KV-1E. So nah. And in the air we have some P-40s, which we so far I think only had with the... We had them for 126 I think. And we have Denisov, the new ace, in his P-40, and which also looks different, new skin for that. And P2 bombers and P3 fighters and bombers it is. So not the greatest Airtap, obviously not the best fighters in the P-40, and not the best bombers and the most horrible fighters in the form of the P3. So overall, a decent deck, solid infantry with the Strelkys, solid tanks. Anti-tank tab also pretty good. Like, you have the big boys there, you have your light armor here, and everything else relatively solid. Could be a good deck. Let's see how it plays out when the DLC releases. Let's move on to the next one. That would be the Morskaya Krupa Bakhtina. Hopefully I don't fully butcher that name. And you can already see in that naval group a lot of recon, a lot of infantry, also decent artillery in the air, but you can already see the issue here. So let's move in here. Here we have some new units, obviously 4 GPA and so on, all old, but we have the Morskaya Razvedka, a 30-man, 12 strength unit with 8 SVTs, 2 MP40s and 2 PPSHs, so CQC pretty strong, and also okay in mid-range with 8 SVTs. Hs129 Sniperi, we know already from 9th. And then the Hs129 VMF, which are kind of similar to the sissies, only that their MG doesn't have as much range as the sissies. So, but is a better one damage-wise with an MG42 and a sniper rifle. So, good one, really good one. And Su-57's also nice. So, nice recon tab overall. Maybe want to take these two the Su-57, and then maybe here the Moskaya Razvedka, because the Austrians FMFs are only 5 points more expensive than the Sniperies, and they are much better. Then we move on to the Infantry tab, and here we have a lot of different naval infantry units supported by a couple of others like strike KDPs. So Saperi PPSHs, Chenya Bush Lati, 3 PPSHs, 9 SVTs, a DP, PTRD. All of that for 20 points for a 13-man unit. This is pretty good. Obviously all of this might change, guys, so don't fully take this for face value. Maybe prices might change, but at the price it stays at the moment, this is an amazing unit. Then we move over to the Moskaya Pekata. Also 20 points. 13-man unit, smoke, 4 PPSHs and a Mosin Nugget. We already know this unit though from 126. Auschnats we also already know. Stalkies we know. The Pekata DP, 2 DPs, a PTRD. Only 1 MP40 though, but still a 13-man squad for 25 points though. Moskaya Stormy, double flamer, 25 points, 8 availability, on 2-star veterancy, so in B. So yeah, the availability on these cards is also not too bad, for anyone wondering. And I think we had these in this 7-man leader as well already, though I'm not 100% certain about it. Stalky SVTs. I'm not 100% certain. So yeah, basically the big new unit I think is this one, which comes with solid availability with the veterancy and really good loadout. In the tank tab though, you only get 1 card of T-34s and you can only take it in B. So obviously big weak point of this division, kind of similar to Rama Mapana. Only that they have better tanks than Rama, but they can only take them in B. Not even getting them early on. Support tab. You get your 52 boost, you get your Maxims, nothing good, like amazing here. The Fort Snaps are your normal Jeep supply. And then anti-tank gun tab though is good. 3 assists, 2 casts is really good. And then you can also choose other stuff and 2 different ways of PTR fire support. The VOD PTR for 20 points. 7-man squad with anti-tank grenade, and HE grenade, and 3 PTRDs. So the fire rate at least is the same as the PTRS. No, it's even higher. With 3 PTRDs, it's higher. But it's funny unit. Don't know if you want to use this though, as it only comes in C-phase. So I don't think so. AA, not good. But could be worse. 2 37mm cards are okay. Artillery tab, also pretty bad, but you get different off maps. This one being rockets, rocket off map. This one being 180mm off map. Artillery. Other than that, obviously you only have to rely on you only can rely on mortars. And then the Airtap is an interesting one. 2 different forms of anti-tank rocket planes down here. Cluster bomber IL-2. Spitfire. The Luck 3 is your only fighter though, so this is not good. The Spitfire has 20mm cannons, so you could use this one as a fighter as well. So I guess that's what you're gonna do, but you obviously don't get the best availability out of these Spitfires, but they come with 1 regency. Ammo is also not good for these panels, so this is a bit of an issue. You can maximum shoot down 1 plane if even with this, and then you have the Bostons and the A20 Shuko. One more unit, one more division that can use the Shuko, but it's not as great as it was in the beginning of Steel Division 2 anymore. So let's move on to a division I think most people look forward to when it comes to the Soviet side. The 3rd VDV, the Fallschirmjäger, or like airborne unit of the Soviets. So that every faction has their airborne units now. VDV Dushka is the first unit here. A Dushka recon track. Then Sniperi. And then the VDV Razvedka with the DT gun. 750 meter MG, and 8 PPSHs. Really shitty unit to use because you have only CQC plus an light MG. This thing doesn't have really good DPS on any range, and for 30 points, not worth it. I think not worth it. You rather take the Sniper and then the T-70 or the Dushka maybe even than that. Then you have Tango Desanikis though. BDV Desaniki. This is your airborne. No, this is a Tango Desaniki with an anti-tank grenade. That is interesting. But they are worse than Tango Desanikis, obviously, as I don't have Molotovs. Interesting unit, Guardia. Classic. BDV Desantiki DT. With 3 DTs. 7-man squad. 3 SVTs, 1 PPZ. Usually those are like 6-man squads, so for 20 points. 3 DTs, that's a lot of firepower. That's a lot of firepower. BDV Saperi. It's an 8-man flamer squad for 20 points. You might want to think about that. Availability is meh, but because they come with 1 retency. Automachikis is your classic. Stormoviki is 1 DT, 7 PPSHs and a TNT. Again, the issue of having a DT and PPSHs as your only loadout. Then Stormoviki Comrade. It's okay, 25.6-man leader. But availability is shitty due to the high retency. Stormoviki we already checked. VDV Desant Comrade. Better availability, really good availability actually for really good availability. It's also a 6-man squad, but 30 points. But good availability on a 30-point leader unit is not too often, so interesting. Then this one has decent availability, also 6-man squad and a TNT. So there's interesting choices there. And then you have your Stormoviki Rocks, 8-man flamer, obviously amazing. Really good CQC unit. But overall this division has wacky infantry, I would call it. Really wacky infantry. You have to be really careful. Also, mostly focused around CQC, close quarter. You have the Guardias, and the DT Desantniki has your only ranged units really. The rest is all CQC. And the amount of man per squad is lower than in the usual Soviet deck, so actually your overall manpower might be not that high. So you have to be careful there. Tank type, also not a strong suit of this division. T-34-76 and 2 different versions, and Valentine's, that's what you got. Together with the leader versions of that. Ognomachiki, VDV Dushka, VDV OB-25. Obviously only having the radar trait, that's why it's called VDV. And yes, that's it in the support tab as well. And the tank tab, 1 Cis-3, Cis-2s, 1 Cis-2, couple of Cis-3s. Su-76 BT is nice. And then Faustnikis with House Patrona though, and the DT again. Not a big fan of that. And then again the same version of this weird, but they can bring it early on, this 3 PTRD squad. Anti-Airtap, decent, but yeah, everything you need, but nothing special either for the Soviets. Azuri, you have a solid rocket off map, but this is the smoke one, if I remember right. Yes, this should be the smoke one, so that's interesting. Yes, this is the smoke one. This allows you at least to get your CQC units into closer combat, and it's better than the smoke one in Normandy because it's much denser in its smoke. B4, good artillery piece obviously, but expensive. And the rest is also pretty standard here. And now move to the Airtap. We have some IL-2s, some Yak-9Ts, and like a lot of different IL-2 versions, including 37mm and IL-4 bombers. The Yak-9Ts are good fighters, but they're not amazing. Obviously the 37mm gives good damage output if it hits, but always a bit wacky, like if they hit, they deal a lot of damage, if they don't hit with their shots, they don't deal a lot of damage, so a bit reliant on RNG there, this fighter, but at some point it will hit obviously, and then it does a lot of damage. So this is it with the Soviet units. I think this division might be a bit underwhelming. The infantry though might be better than I give it credit for. We will have to see, because obviously this division relies on its infantry, and I have the feeling this will be kinda like 126 at launch. Obviously not having the heavy armor that 126 can bring in late game now, in the form of the KV 85s that they have now. And now we come to the really cool part of this DLC though. The new nation that is added into the game with it. The Romanians for the Axis. Blindata, the first Blindata Romania Mare is the first division. It's the Romanian tank division. And we start on the recon tab. And obviously a lot of different new units to talk about here. BMW is the same. Zrt our 2-man recon squad with the new Risita SMG. AB Horks are 222s. These are 250/9s. And here we have the first Romanian recon unit for 30 points. 5-man squad though, so I don't think they have worth 30 points. They have 1 ZB, a couple of bolt action rifles, and 1 bazooka, so really not worth those points, I think. Coming in a Tatra squad, truck. Tatras driving 70 kilometers. Could also come in this German half-track. And then Panzer Force as recon unit as well. In the infantry, we have these double LMG, bolt action rifle, SMG, normal power level SMG. This is the Rita. No special range, no special roll damage. It's your 10-man usual 20-point unit. While double LMG may be a bit better. Actually might be pretty decent, as they also come in good availability, as you can see. The 9, 18, 27 version, and you can get 3 of them. The Panzerfaust version of that, Pioneer, the leader coming in with a sniper rifle, with double sniper rifle, but only 3-man squad for 25 points. Availability though is good, and you have smoke, so maybe a thing worthwhile thinking about, as a double sniper is always geared in dealing damage and pinning down units. Pioneer, kind of the copy of the German Pioneers, only replacing them with Romanian small arms, obviously still having the MG34. Panzer Grenadiers, German units in here. LT Pioneer, 30-point unit, not really sure if it's worth 30 points. Has only naval and 5-man, so a bit of wacky price there, maybe. Pioneer Assault, 10-man, double flamer, 30-point unit. But you can't get 5 of them. Like, they're not bound to the 3 that the Stormoviki Rocks are. And they have 2 more men, so this is a really good unit. With the Oritas, this is a really heavy DPS unit. Together with the super basic, middle of the road 20-point infantry, this might be a really good firepower division. And then you have some Panzer Grenadiers as well, if you want to have elite, like, good 30-point German units. But obviously a bit more expensive than the Romanian ones, so you might want to just stick with Romanian infantry, actually. Then we come to the tanks, which is German standard. The normal Stuk 3 and Panzer Force in different models, only with Romanian names, or even not Romanian names, because a couple of them are German. In the support tab, you also have some Germans helping out this division in form of Stus, IGs, and MG42s. The Romanian version of the Flamer, with the Flammenwerfer 41, and their version of police force, or like the disciplined force, and their one has 8 strength for 15 points, so this might be worth thinking about actually. Though you don't have any disheartened unit, which makes this a bit weird, because they don't have anyone to police with that. Do you have your commanders down here? Anti-tank guns. We have another new lovely unit. The Takam T60. With good penetration, HE shells, All for 30 points. You have to think about that. But obviously, pretty weak armor. But for 30 points, this is actually a pretty decent gun. F-22 gun applied to this. This is an absolutely sweet vehicle. I'm absolutely loving the looks of this. So give it a try. Then we have the AC 47mm anti-tank gun with 70mm of penetration, 17 rounds per minute. So really high fire rate, medium penetration or low penetration anti-tank gun for 35 points. It's worth thinking about. And then we have their form of a heavy infantry, anti-tank infantry unit with a Panzerschreck, TNT, 7-man squad. So also interesting, but for 40 points I think a bit overpriced. And then we have the Risita AC 75mm, and this is where it gets for 75mm anti-tank gun. Best in the game of it, because it has indirect fire. It has 160mm of penetration with 15 rounds per minute. This thing doesn't take prisoners. Availability, not the best, but it's still decent. Obviously lower than other 75mm, but this penetration, plus smoke, plus indirect fire, it's really good. Plus the rate of fire, obviously, as well. Going lower when you shoot AHE, but the AP rate of fire is insane for 160mm of penetration. This thing is super good. So anyone worrying that the Romanians might lag in dealing with tank divisions or so, in a deck where you have 2 cards of these, that's not an issue. And anti-air. We have the Hotchkiss, decent AA. We know them from the Polish. Gustlov 20mm, that's the normal one. Then the Hotchkiss 25mm, we also decent AA. We also know them from the Finnish, I think. And we know them for sure from Fast and Close Prairies from Normandy. Really good, pretty good AA. 37mm on transport, also good one. Overall, decent AA tab, not amazing. Obviously, nothing really long range and only 137mm, but decent AA. And artillery tab, also decent, with some older howitzers, some off-map recon plane, and then some standard mortars. 60mm mortars as well, which we don't usually have with the Axis. Mortar half-track, and then bigger old artillery guns in the form of 149mm. But yeah, your classic artillery tab, basically. And here we come to the Airtap with quite a couple of new units. First one being the BF 110 fighter. I wouldn't expect this thing to be good, guys. But it's it's slow, it's having bad agility, medium resilience. It has a lot of firepower, obviously, to the front. But I wouldn't expect this thing to be good. Then you have your Ju-87D5 with interesting bomb loadout. Also these bombs being Romanian bombs, but I don't think they have they have the usual 50 kilogram bomb value. Romanian markings. I think 2 more 50 kilogram bombs than usual, so that's I think the interesting price point. And it's a decent one. Then we have the E3, which is also I think we only have the E4 I think at the moment. 2 20mm and 2 7mm guns are decent. It's good in agility, but it's not that amazing in speed. So decent fighter, but not amazing. Then you have the Hs129 B2 R4 Bombers. It's something we don't have Hs129 Bombers so far. For 85 points, well, this thing is absolutely crawling over the map. So for 85 points, I don't know if this is worth it. Obviously, you can also work as tank destroyer, not as tank destroyer, as a ground strike attacker, but it's not that great in that job either. And then we have the Romanian flame here in form of the IRA 81M with one 272 kilogram bomb and 2 20mm MGs and 4 7mm Brownings. So that good damage output as fighter and a good bomb for 85 points. With 430 kilometers of speed. I take it. It's not fast, that's the issue, but has good damage output, has okay agility. I take it. Comes in a even heavier version here for 5 points more with 2 more 50 kilogram bombs. So that's the payoff there. And then we have these lovely bombers. The JRS 79, I think that's the Italian licensed planes built in Romania with 10 100 kilogram bombs. Obviously also really slow, but for the price point, 10 100 kilogram bombs can obviously be absolutely devastating. Comes on heavier payload one with 272 kilogram bombs. And then you also have a cluster bomber Ju-87 D5 version and an Me-109 G6A. Don't know what the A stands for. I think it's the normal G6 in its loadout. It kind of looks like it. 590 kilometers. That's your fast fighter. So really decent Airtap. Really decent Airtap. Let's move on to the next Romanian division. Like the Airtap of the Romanians, all interesting. This one is a really good one of these. The other ones, some of not so much. Well, we will get to that. Like I think others only look interesting, but I don't think are as good as this one. Now we go to the cavalry motorizata, the motorized cavalry division of the Romanians, and we start with recons once more. And here we go with the Air 1 tank. Yes, obviously shitty one, but 10 points. You got 2 MGs. Maybe you want to take that, but it's slow, so it's not even a fast one. I'd rather take this one. 222 is something you can rely on. The lunatists is your snipers in the form of the finished. Your Italian armored cars, also decent, obviously, and 6 in one card, amazing. Predator, we know them from this 3rd FJ already. Your T35, yeah, I think your Panzer T35, the Czech tank. And then you have your sniper with carabines, and this is where the Finnish get their good guns, their bolt action rifles, with really interesting DP damage. Because if you divide 1.4 by 7, that's a new number that we don't have per rifle just yet. This is a really odd number as well. So this is interesting. 10-man squad, 1 sniper rifle. I don't think that's worth 35 points, even with anti-tank gun, anti-tank. And availability is obviously also Gabo, but interesting unit still. And then we move to the infantry, where we also get more of these carabines. 20 points, 2 long range, and 9 availability, plus a PTRD for 8-man squad. Worth thinking about, guys. Worth thinking about. Then we go to the Kranitsari sniper. 10-man squad with a sniper. 9 Gallagher's. Somehow there's one weapon to match here. I think one Manelicher has to go. And then an LMG. Really good. Like that will hopefully be fixed by launch. That should be fixed by launch. But yeah, in my version this is really good loadout here. Pioneers bringing in the HE grenade. That we already saw these guys. Pioneer Cagliari replace the Manelicha with carabines and the SMGs with Berettas. So Berettas we already know from the SS Legionaries, the Italian 150mm range with 0.4 damage SMG. So really good SMG there. And they get a couple of them. Costirosauri get them as well, also the carabines. So these are really good damage output units. Maybe they can even go to the same level as the Hungarians in cost efficiency with combined to firepower. The LT Pioneer, nothing special. We already thought these, I think. These leaders having 3 Berettas, also interesting, but nothing really special. And then we already saw these Pioneer Assault, really amazing. 10-man double flamer. And then we get to the Zrt Assault. 12-man Molotov unit with 4 Berettas and 8 carabines. Sign me in, guys. 30 points, sure, expensive. Availability, meh. But if you can fit them in without costing you too much, like still having availability over, amazing unit. And another good choice, the Glide Grenadiers. So this division has amazing infantry choices. And all of them are worthwhile taking, I think. The Glide Grenadiers obviously being really good infantry as well, but 35 points. And then you have this leader, which has a Barada, 2 carabines and a panzer track, which is also really weird setup. 35 points for a 3-man squad, I don't think you pay that. But the availability is decent. In the tank squad, you're not that well off. You have at least 2 slots and you have a looks, or you 2 Stuk cards here, with 1 being a leader. So, something worth thinking about. What do you want to take? I think I would take the looks and the Stuk, because the looks can really help out here. In the support tab, we have a new interesting unit in form of the Brother AC 47mm, which has HE shells and AP with 55mm of penetration with 20 rounds per minute. So this thing can shoot really fast and shoot a lot of stuff out. It's basically the support gun of the Romanians, and this is a really cool one. Schwarzlos, MG, CB53, MG, so a couple of interesting MG versions here as well, and the rest is pretty basic. Hotchkiss as well, so really a lot of interesting choices there. Again, the 8-man penal battalion unit, or not penal, the political commissariat unit there. They are Soltorn anti-tank rifle squadron here, panzer tracks, M42 anti-tank guns, and then again 2 cards of this amazing Risita anti-tank gun. So still a good anti-tank tab. I guess you would like to have a Pak 38 or something in between here, but still decent anti-tank tab with good availability. Nothing to worry about there, I think. Hotchkiss again, Bofors, and a new anti-tank gun, the Vickers. The first allied big AA piece comes for the Romanians in form of the Vickers 75mm AA piece, which also has 145mm of penetration in AP, so also worth maybe using as that. And the artillery tab, nothing too major. M30s, stolen one, F22 stolen ones, an off-map plane that also brings bombs, though this is interesting, an off-map plane with some cluster HE bombs as well. Don't know really if you can ever use them efficiently, but it's also a Romanian plane, so really interesting there. In the support tab, you have your Ju-88 recon plane, I think also something we don't see yet. An IRA 37 with bombs, so that's your slow bomber. Really 270mm is a crawl. 12 50kg bombs though. Interesting loadout. 55 points, obviously really cheap. Your IRA 50 fighter with only with the same loadout, like 2 MGs, 4 Brownings. 485 is obviously pretty slow, but for 80 points this is good damage output, good agility. Well, maybe worth thinking about. E7, okay, 220mm, a bit faster than the E3 I think, but nothing really major here either. A bit faster obviously also than the IRA, so you have to think about that, as it also has 220mm. For 5 points more, I think you would rather take that, actually. I think you'd rather take that. Then you have your Ju-87 cluster bomber again, so that's good. IRA with rockets, which is interesting. And since the rockets got buffed, these are pretty decent. G4 R6, so that's your standard standard one there, I think as well. 220mm, 320mm, yes. These one 600 KMH, also really good one. So good ME109 there. An Hs129 cluster bomber, also something new we haven't seen yet. So this is interesting. Let's see how this performs. It gets in good availability. You get them in good availability in A3, then 4, then 6. So that's good. And then Ju-88 and ME109, ME111 bombers with 250kg bombs. This one bringing 8 of them to the battlefield. Obviously, availability and relatively expensive, but for the price. And this one bringing 4 250kg and 16 50kg bombs. So these are really heavy bomb loadouts. So let's see how those perform. But we only have one division left, and let's go quickly there, so this the video doesn't get too long. And that's the Romanian Infantry division in form of 4 Munte. And in the recon tab, we have the lunatists, the snipers, 4 cards of them. Then we have a 250/9 with German crew. And then we have the double snipers for the finish, with 3 MP41s as support. So this is interesting. This is a decent, healthy double sniper rifle stream. So the Finnish one sniper rifle only has 2 men. This one has 5 men. So even if 3 of them die, they still fire with 2 sniper rifles. So really beefy unit there. Then this weird squadron, 35 points, 1 sniper rifle, AT. Then the Carabines, and it's like that's what we already saw. Really weird squad, and a lot of sniper rifles you can obviously see. And the first disheartened unit for the Romanians in form of the recruitee. 15-point unit, it's decent. Not having AT, but 10-man squad with an MG, an SMG, and 8 Männerlicher. For 15 points, I think you can take these guys easily. Then you have the Infantry. Basically the same without the Sergeant. Infantry with Panzerfaust, so same with Panzerfaust. The 20 is your 15-man Molotov unit for 25 points. 15 men, but all they get is Männerlicher. All these guys get is Männerlicher rifles. Also having the H-20 helmets here, guys. They're the Romanian version of it. Then you have the infantry leader, 4-man infantry leader without anything, no smoke or anything, but okay availability. And then we have the pioneer here with the Faustpistole, a new anti-tank gun, anti-tank like infantry weapon with 180mm of penetration on 120 meter range though. So really weird range there, 120 meter range. Obviously a really CQC one. But having good penetration, but getting this close is obviously nearly as getting as close as with anti-tank grenade. Only 20 meters, and 20 meters in this game are nothing. You have a sniper rifle. Maybe you take this. 25 points. Actually, for 25 points, a 5-man squad with a sniper rifle and somewhat of an HE grenade in a bit better form. Take that. Take that. The VM Pioneers. An LMG, like, yeah, okay, this is this version of the German Pioneers, only that they have 3 CQC weapons instead of 2, I think. And these being ZKs, I think those are the Czech SMGs. Yes, those are the Czech SMGs. Then the VM Pioneer Assault with the Czech SMGs and flamethrower. The Mandatory de Munte. So this is a 12-man, 30-point. So this is like Panzer Grenadiers, only with MG43s, 34s though. So the same price as Panzer Grenadiers, but 2 men more. I don't know if that's worth it. I think they might be better than Panzer Grenadiers thanks to the 2 mans, but obviously having less damage output, quite a bit less damage output than MG42s have with the 34s. Then the same version with Panzerfaust. And then we have the leader with also another sniper rifle. So really the theme of this division is sniper enemy at 1000 meter range. Well, God. Interesting squad here, 35 points, Panzerschreck, sniper rifle, 5-man squad. Don't know, you decide if you want to bring that. Tank tab, you have 4 cards, so that's more than the motorized version. You get Air-35, these are obviously not amazing. And then you get a couple of Panzer IVs. So yes, not the best tank tab, not the worst in game though. And you get a couple of more tanks here. You get again this interesting infantry support gun. Get a flamer, get a lot of different MG versions, including the Hotchkiss once more. And yeah, the B2 is an interesting one that can help you. It's German crewed, so yes, it's a flamer tank. It misses the other B2 versions of the hull gun, obviously, with that, but okay armor. It only comes in B-phase though. I don't know if you want to bring it in B-phase. Then we come to the anti-tank tab, where we have a new anti-tank tank in form of this rebuilt chassis of a T-70, I think, with a BT, like with a really interesting cannon on it. I think that's the gun is the same as in the BA-10, the Soviet armored car. 75mm of penetration, 25-point unit. Not fast though, it's super slow. So this is a really weird unit. This is a really weird unit. I don't know if you want to take them actually. Yes, they don't have HE. Then you got Pak 40s. Or wait, no, this is This is not Pak 40s. No, these are the 75mm. Wait, I think we had this in somewhere, didn't we? Or is this a Finnish, Romanian? Didn't we have them in the Hungarian division or so? I think I remembered them, but maybe I'm wrong. But he has HE shells. The Finnish, maybe the Finnish had them. Pak 47-35. 75mm with heat shells that have 90mm of penetration. AP shells only 60, so actually really underperforming for the 75mm gun. But they at least have 12 HE shells, but 12 HE shells is not a lot, as we only have 12 rounds per minute. So, really weird gun. 30 points though is cheap, and so you might want to take them. The AP shells also come with 12 rounds per minute, so that is that. Then you have Pak 40s and Pak 38s in Romanian paintings. This is cool. I like the skins. And mothers. But yes, the Romanian ones are interesting, and then you get classic anti-tank tab. So this anti-tank tab is decent, but not impressive. Anti-air, you get mobile wagons. You get another one of the Vickers, so this is cool. This is good AA. Obviously only 3 cards though, so you have to be careful there if you only take these 2, or if you take these into Hotchkiss. Hotchkiss coming in good availability obviously, and they are decent AA. And in Ratoli we get the old howitzers. You get more old howitzer guns, like a lot of old Romanian Ratoli. Or maybe also newer ones, like a lot of different Romanians, plus Vespers and Hummels from the Germans as support later on. And then we come to the Airtap, which is also really interesting. We have some Planheims as recon, so more Planheims in the game. Angry Bird will be real happy about that. Ju 87 D3 with a 250kg bomb, interesting one there as well. An Hs129 recon plane with 400 kilometers, finally a fast Hs129. An IR-81 fighter. We only had the 80 as fighter, the 81C now as fighter, that we only had as fighter bombers earlier, for 75 points. Yeah, you have to think about it again, guys. Now the fighter bomber version with 250kg bombs only. Obviously not dealing a lot of damage, but having good reload time, so maybe worth thinking about. Also decent fast of 755 kilometers. And then we have these. Again, the Italian licensed plane with 1850kg bombs. Hs129, hopefully these things get buffed at some point, so at the moment not that great. Hs129, another one. But at least that's some anti-tank from the air. Hs129 being the ace here. And then we have the Polish bombers. So more Polish equipment in the game now as well. In the form of the PCL P37P with 20 110kg bombs or 30 250kg bombs. So that's a lot of loadout. Especially the 20 110kg bombs, I think, can pin a really big blob of infantry down. 415 points though, availability meh. Availability really that one of a heavy bomber. But yeah, 415 is not the most expensive, but this thing obviously is slow and only has medium resilience. So expect them to only have one trip to the front line. Be really careful with these things. But yes, this is it, guys. This is the new 6 divisions. I hope you enjoyed it. Check out the Twitch stream. We stream on SD League. We will stream a lot with these DLCs. Maybe even before they come out. For sure when they come out. And really looking forward to see all these in action in tournaments and so on. I'm really looking forward to play these in games myself more and showing you guys how they work out. So see you there, guys. Check that out and see you in the next one.